Have you fallen down the cottage industry rabbit hole yet? Well, if not, buckle up, Alice, and click on over to the description in the show notes and sign up. Then you can get ready for the most fun induction into the cult of all things yarn and fiber. This will include, but not limited to, free yarn, free ebooks, patterns, coupons, and much more. You don't want to miss out.
You are listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts, a podcast featuring two crafty besties who love true crime and a good cup of joe.
Hey, amateur sleuths. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Heidi.
Welcome back to part two.
Part two.
Of Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six. No. Typically, I know all of that, but I'm tired.
Okay, so last week, Kristen left off at
huge cliffhanger, guys.
Huge cliffhanger. The cops are at the flat. They just informed him that the drains were clogged with human remains. And his response was so flat when it should have been explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How awful. How terrible.
Yeah, well, no. Yeek.
Yeah. So, after the cops stepped into his apartment and smelled death and then saw the parts, they quickly arrested Dennis. And they spent several days questioning him. Like, I think it was like 6 days they were questioning him.
That's like a lot of days. Did they have him in holding that whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dennis seemed relieved to have been arrested because after his first night in custody, he said that he had had the best sleep he's had in weeks.
Yeah, he didn't have to hide his secrets anymore.
Yeah. Things were off his shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also said if he hadn't been stopped, there would have been more, an awful lot more.
Yeah.
Because, like, we likened him to Jeffrey Dahmer, right? The whole world likens him to Jeffrey Dahmer. And Jeffrey Dahmer actually said, I kept killing because it kept getting easier.
Yes.
So I just feel like if he hadn't been stopped, it would have just gotten more and more intense.
Right. Well, and it took you going through that whole first part. As soon as you said human remains in the drain, I was like, I've seen something about this guy before.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember any of the details except for that.
No, there's the other episode we had with the Roar Hunter.
Right.
He had parts.
No, No, I mean this specific guy.
But you mean
I've seen something about this specific guy before.
Oh, okay.
But like, it didn't
register until because
I'm
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, while Dennis was in custody, detectives combed through his apartment, and it was a night that they will never forget. In the front room dresser were 3 heads inside 2 plastic trash bags. And this is where, like, the cannibalism type comes into it, but they never really say that he was eating them. But the heads had been boiled and one still had flesh on it.
Gross, dude.
Yeah. Nearby the bag of heads. Hey, I got a bag of heads.
Yeah.
Woohoo. This insane.
I can't even imagine like having to search that house. That flat.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, as a cop, I almost would find that to be interesting.
well, yes, it is fascinating for sure.
But clearly horrific because
The smell,
so sad and just
yeah, that all of the things. It triggers a lot of stuff in people. I don't
It
get
gets
triggered by
worse.
smells.
I don't either. I had one training officer. I went to a dead body, but it wasn't my first. It was just it happened to be my first on this with this agency or whatever. And he's like, "Are you going to be okay?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "Well, the person's dead." I said, "I know that. I understand."
Do you think that
He
because
goes,
I'm a
"It's
woman, I'm too sensitive?
He says, "Are you going to be okay with the smell?" And I said, "It's not my first dead body."
Also, I'm a woman.
He's like, "Okay."
Women's stomachs, their sense of smell is not as bad as men.
Yeah. So,
generally,
I'm sure, I have not smelled like boiling.
Well, yeah, I bet that smells disgusting.
Decomposition, and that's probably a lot worse. But
yeah,
I, have been around some
yikes,
unfortunate deaths.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't have problems with dead smells.
No.
In fact, side note, there's some regurgitated sad dead animal outside my front door, and I found a dead bird yesterday too.
How fun.
So there's a lot of death running around my house. I don't know why.
Yikes.
It's probably the cats.
I was just going to say it was probably your cat.
Most likely Vincent. But I mean, he comes by his name naturally. Vincent Price.
He's a creep for sure.
Lovers of macabre, no. Vincent Price brings the creep.
Yes.
Out of everything. So, where are we? Yeah. Nearby the bag of heads was an open box with limbs. Like limbs hanging out of the box.
That's so creepy.
From which strips of flesh had been removed.
Oh my God.
So like they're dead parts, but like cut off. Anyways, and on the bathroom floor was the lower torso of one victim's half dismembered body.
OMG.
He was just letting body parts just live everywhere.
They were like just scattered in his fucking flat everywhere.
That's what it sounds like.
That's fucking terrifying.
I know. Dennis stated he could not remember the names of the young men he met in pubs and gay bars.
He didn't care.
He didn't pay enough attention. He knew they were drifters and are homeless and could easily be offered a bed to sleep at night. He took on the vulnerable. He found out who he could get rid of without much trouble. And in total, it seemed that Dennis had 15 killings in 4 years. Everything Dennis said could corroborate that he was in fact a serial killer. And he told police that sometimes he would leave the bodies where they lay for up to 5 days. He would go to work and come home at night to find the corpse was still there. And apparently this was amazing and shocking to him. Like, what did he think? They would get up and walk away out of his apartment?
Yeah.
Like, no, sir, they're dead. You killed them.
That's so fucking weird.
No walking away from that.
Ugh. Like, he had no concept.
Like, he was not,
That didn't
he was like so
register.
surprised that these bodies were still there and they were still living with him.
Hmm.
So there's no real answer as to why he started killing, but detectives believe that he was a lonely man and the bodies represented someone around the house.
Okay. That's really fucked up.
Yeah. Very much so. Dennis was dubbed the British Jeffrey Dahmer, as we have mentioned before, because of their subsequent modus operandi and that they were both homosexual.
Right.
But like Dahmer, Dennis's victims were young homosexual men that he would find in bars and encounter randomly in the street. Many were homeless, so he could lure them to his home with offers of alcohol, food, and shelter.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like that's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
We're finding more and more of the same MO.
Yes, there's actually a case pretty close-ish to my general area. And it
Mhm.
was the same sort of thing where it was like young gay men being lured to this guy's house.
Mhm.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah. So once in his home, he would, I'm going to talk more about the actual victims, but this is kind of just like his MO coupled with the comparison of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
So once in the home, he would usually strangle them after they passed out or fell asleep. If the victim wasn't dead yet from the strangulation, he would drown them either with a bucket of water in the sink or in the bathtub.
Huh.
Yeah. So after he murdered them, this is where it gets really hinky. He would bathe the bodies, shave them, put makeup on them, clothe them in his clothes, and prop them up in a bed or a chair. And he always destroyed their personal property, like their belongings. He would get rid of it.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And for some time after the deaths, he would keep the corpse.
Gross.
Now, mind you, this flat he was in was upstairs, so he like kept them under the floorboard in between the next apartment.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
He would hold them, talk to them, and also masturbate over their bodies. And would perform, they say, he says that intercourse wasn't involved, but he would have non-penetrative sexual acts on the bodies. So I don't know what he's doing.
Okay.
But he says that he wasn't technically having sex with them. Just, I don't know.
Okay.
He was like, in his mind, he was having this relationship with this dead person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I don't want to think about that too far. My mind has gone there.
I told you this case was like crazy.
Yeah.
It was a lot. No, Dennis is quoted in saying, "I stood there amazed. I found it all hard to believe that Des Nelson, he called himself Des, had actually done all of that."
Mother.
Yeah.
That's fucking gross.
I know, right? So I know everything I've said so far has been kind of crazy and quite a story, but I'm also going to talk about the victims and their last moments.
Okay.
So this case was especially difficult to do because of his poor mental health, and he treated these boys and men in such a way that made him feel better, but took their lives. And they were innocent. They had, he didn't need to destroy these poor males. Before I talk about the victims, I am going to quote a written statement made by Dennis that he gave to Detective Inspector Peter J. in February 1983. He said, "When under pressure of work and extreme pain of social loneliness and utter misery, I am drawn compulsively to a means of temporary escape from reality. This is achieved by taking increased amounts of alcohol and plugging into stereo music, which mentally removes me to a high plane of ecstasy, joy, and tears. This is a totally emotional experience. I relive experiences from childhood to present, taking out the bad bits. When I take alcohol, I see myself drawn along and moved out of my isolated prison flat. I bring with me people who are not always allowed to leave because I want them to share my experiences and high feeling."
Wow.
Yeah.
It really does take you back to that moment when his grandpa died, when his
Mhm.
mom told him he was just sleeping because
That's what I was saying earlier on. Like,
it's so
it's
fucked
almost
up.
like she sadly
Yeah.
created this monster.
But like it's really how he processed it. At some point he had to have experienced what death actually was.
Right, but he was
No.
6 when that happened, and his
Yeah.
mom, like, "Here's this dead body. Oh, he's just sleeping. Your grandpa's just fine. He's sleeping."
Yeah. That's
Like, I think we should have probably done something different.
yeah. That's not a good way. Sorry, I'm so itchy, guys, but I have hives. So
Yeah, she's working through some stuff. Her and I are just the queens of allergies.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be alive. Just
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yup, yup.
Ugh.
So Dennis also wrote recollections of the ritual he observed after the murder of his first victim. So I'm going to read you this paragraph.
Okay. Bring it on.
It's tough. "I eased him into his new bed beneath the floorboards.
Oh boy.
A week later, I wondered whether his body had changed at all and had started to decompose. I took him and pulled the dirt-stained youth up onto the floor. His skin was very dirty. I stripped myself naked and carried him into the bedroom and washed the body. There was practically no discoloration, and his skin was pale white. His limbs were more relaxed than when I had put him down there."
Yee.
Hmm.
Yee.
This was written about Stephen Dean Holmes. Dennis claimed to have met him in a gay bar, but it seems that he was actually on his way home from a pop concert.
Okay.
This first murder took place December 30th, 1978. Dennis strangled Stephen. Sorry. Dennis strangled Stephen with a necktie until he was unconscious, then drowned him in a bucket of water. Sadly, he had not been identified until January 12th, 2006.
Oh my God.
January 12th is my birthday, everybody.
Yeah.
So once they found out who he actually was in 2006, they realized his first murder victim was 14 years old at the time of
Oh
his death.
my God. Ugh.
Yeah.
How did they figure out who he was? Was it just DNA, maybe?
Yeah.
Shit. That's.
So that was number one. Numero uno. Poor kid never had a chance.
Yeah.
But the second victim was Kenneth Ockendon, which Dennis murdered him December 3rd, 1979. So that was almost a whole year in between the first and second.
Okay. So he was
Victims.
just probably like trying to.
He had a attempted murder, but that person got away.
Okay.
Yeah. This Kenneth, he was lured to his flat and they had sex, but while they were having sex, Dennis strangled him.
Okay.
And he was one of the very few victims that actually was reported missing.
Oh, somebody missed him. So
yes, he had loved ones.
that's a good. I'm glad that like somebody was looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
At least, you know.
Sadly, a lot of his victims.
Well, and a
anybody.
lot of victims don't have anybody. You know, they're like serial killers look for easy targets. And sadly, easy targets are, you know, sex workers or runaways.
A lot of times.
Or,
a lot of times, yeah.
They're just homeless. It's too easy.
They're more vulnerable to being lured in with drugs, alcohol, a place to stay.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of them are just doing what they can to survive. So
Yep. It's so sad.
Street life is sad, guys. Victim number 3 was Martin Duffy. He was a 16-year-old homeless boy. And in May 1980, the boy met Dennis and told him he would go back to his place for a drink and a bed. Dennis strangled the young boy and drowned him in the kitchen sink.
Jesus. All because he wanted a companion who didn't talk or move.
Yeah. There's something seriously gone.
Yeah.
Victim number 4 was Billy Sutherland, who was a male prostitute living in Scotland. Dennis didn't remember how he killed Sutherland, but it was later told that the victim had been strangled by someone using their bare hands.
That takes a really fucking long time.
And when you see a picture of this guy, you don't see him as an overpowering force.
Right.
Like,
he doesn't look strong?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's like a tall, skinny dude.
Interesting.
Like he's not.
Yeah, because strangling, it takes a lot of
So it's
strength.
almost as if like his mind took over.
Right.
And no matter what, these people met their end.
Well, that and he's probably like giving them alcohol first.
Yeah, so they're incapacitated.
Yeah,
they're less likely to fight and have issues.
Right.
Victim number 5 was another male prostitute, but sadly has never been identified. All that is known is that he's of Asian descent, probably from Thailand or the Philippines.
Oh no. Come on, DNA dough.
Right?
Yeah, let's
get some help.
one.
This one has a lot of John Does.
Gosh.
Yeah. Victim number 6, all Dennis could recall was that he was a young Irish worker that he met in a bar.
Damn.
Yeah. Victim number 7, Dennis described as a hippie type that he found sleeping in a doorway of Charing Cross, which is a junction where multiple railways meet.
Okay.
It's near Trafalgar Square, and I have been there multiple times. It's one of my favorite places of London.
All right. So
But
he just,
yeah, there's
found
like
him and was
6.
like, "Here, I'll feed you and give you booze."
I think he was, he's probably homeless, sleeping it off, or just I don't know.
Tie one on a little too much.
He needed to tie another one on, I guess.
Yeah.
Victim number 8, Dennis had no recollection of and didn't know who the person was
Oh wow.
or what he did to the body. He didn't know anything. He
Okay.
didn't remember, but he knows he had another victim. Victims 9 and 10 were both young men from Scotland that he picked up in pubs. Victim 11 was a man Dennis picked up at Piccadilly Circus, which is a pretty cool place. It's not a circus, guys, just FYI.
I just like the name.
I know. It's a pretty cool spot. It's really neat. If you can make it to England, there's a lot of really cool stuff, and I've been there 4 times. So if you want any travel tips, I'm your girl. I got you.
With robot arms.
Doot, doot, doot. There's a death museum near the Tower of London. No,
I will.
Sorry, the Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge. It was really cool. They had all the devices.
Yes.
That was crazy. Anyways, we digress. So the man he picked up at Piccadilly Circus, he happened to have a tattoo on his throat saying "cut here."
Oh shit. Did he actually do it though? I mean, he did decapitate a lot of people.
No. I mean, he dismembered people.
Well, yes.
But I don't know. But the man said that he liked to fight and that he was tough, but once back in Dennis's apartment and a few drinks, Dennis overtook the man. He apparently took the man's torso. So, yes, he decapitated, took limbs. He took the torso and hung it up in his bedroom for a whole day before he buried it under his floorboards.
Did anybody tell him that that's not burying?
He even had a garden in the back, I think, that he could use.
It's like a stash spot. It's not a burying plot.
I know. And this was the last time, he could have buried this one in the garden that he was the only one that had access to. So I don't know why he buried it in the floorboards.
It's so weird. Like, my house totally has those floorboards. Some of them, definitely were stash spots, probably during Prohibition.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I always want to look at them. There's never anything there.
Nothing cool.
So, bummer.
Definitely no dead bodies.
Oh, thank God for them. That would be bad.
That would be really bad.
Although, when we remodel, I am definitely putting a false cabinet in the kitchen with a skeleton.
Yes. I was going to say, you should do that for the next owners. So
definitely. Definitely doing that.
Or, yeah. So, family member, whatever. Yeah. Anyways. Victim number 12, and the last before he moved to Muswell Hill, which was his last place of residence, was a man identified as Malcolm Barlow. He killed him September 18th, 1981. There's a a lot of death in the year of my birth, just FYI.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like 1981 pops up a lot. I see it a lot. It's kind of scary. The 80s were
Wild.
prevalent for serial killers, though. So
very, very wild.
Kidnappings and serial murder. Yeah. No wonder we are obsessed.
Yeah.
You 82, me 81. It's just, anyway, so Dennis found this man needing medical assistance in a doorway near his home. He had an ambulance come for him. So Dennis saved his life from whatever emergency he was having.
Fucking kidding me.
And the man went to the hospital with the EMS. He was released from the hospital.
No.
And for some reason, he got a hair up his ass and said, I am going to make this huge mistake of my life and return to the man's apartment who saved my life.
Probably wanted to say thank you.
Well, he did. He went there to say thank you to Dennis for helping save his life. And in turn, Dennis invited him for a few drinks and dinner.
What a nice man.
So nice. Later that night, he met his demise and was murdered by Dennis. So here, let me save your life, and now I will murder you.
Yeah. That's so fucked up. That's like extra fucked.
It's really bad. It's really not okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Victim number 13. This was the first victim in Dennis's new home in Muswell Hill. Dennis took John Howlett in his home in December 1981. There's that 81 again.
Mm-hmm.
But he decided he should die. He got him to his house. He didn't really care for him. So he thought he should go. John fought him best he could. There was a huge struggle and a fight, but unfortunately, for some reason, Dennis was able to hold his head underwater for 5 minutes. I'm guessing Dennis just kept his sink and his bathtub full of water all the time.
Well,
because
probably.
How is he just, we're fighting. Let me take you to my kitchen.
Yeah. And like that takes a lot of strength. So like he must have
does.
His adrenaline was probably like what was getting him through all of this.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because adrenaline can do fucking crazy shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, it can make moms pick up cars,
literally
for
pick
babies
up cars
and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So I am pretty sure that is what was going on with him. Because he was like, this man's gonna die. I'm gonna kill him. So I've got to win and let's beat this meat. It's terrible.
Sorry, I just laughed at that. Oh my god. But it was funny. So
all right. So
I
think that we should put a disclaimer. No parentals should listen to this episode.
Yeah, seriously.
Now I'm embarrassed.
My mom's totally gonna laugh.
My parents will shun me.
No, they won't.
So John was also not only the first victim to die in this new home, but he was also his first victim to be completely dismembered.
Okay.
And Dennis decided to also keep him around the house with different body parts hidden in drawers and in floorboards. But then he decided to flush them down the toilet.
Oh God.
There's no rhyme or reason.
No flushing down the toilet, bro. This is what I mean, but also like
I
this is how he
mean-
gets caught. So please do.
Right. Yeah. Flush all the body parts down the toilet.
Also,
please.
what the fuck is with his neighbors not smelling anything and reporting it? Or did they? And I'm ruining.
They did like no, you're not ruining anything. I mean, there were some concerns.
Right.
But really Dennis told on himself because his plumbing was backing up, and he called his landlord, and they called a plumber, and the plumber reported that there were body parts in the drain.
It's
So when the detectives are there in his apartment building asking about to see the drains, and he just says, "Oh, well, why are cops worried about drains?" I don't know, mother.
Yeah, what a fucking
You told on yourself.
Weirdo. Like super weird.
So victim 14 was identified as Graham Allen, and he was another homeless man that Dennis met out on the street, offered to give him a meal, a bed, and a bath. Let's give you that bath. Let's just soak you down after you're dead. Sounds good? Let's go.
That works.
Unfortunately, Mr. Graham Allen met his demise, and after he was murdered, Dennis left his body in the bath for 3 days before dismembering him.
Ew.
I don't know if he was just like, let me mull it over. I'm going to go to work now. You just rest in the bath. I'll come and sit with you and tell you tales of my day.
A nice long soak there.
Yeah. So, victim 15.
Jeez, there's a lot of victims.
Right. This is Dennis's supposed final victim.
Okay.
He was identified as Stephen Sinclair. Now, Stephen, unfortunately, was a drug addict. And after going back to Dennis's house for a meal and some alcohol, he also did that heroin.
Oh, God.
He did some heroin.
That's never a good plan.
The heroin did him in. Because while he was high, Dennis strangled him and then just dismembered his body.
Heroin
is a awful drug.
We were just talking about it actually before coming up to record. Ben and one of our employees, we were all talking about like it. They say that it's like being totally shit-faced on alcohol times like several times.
Well, so because heroin is very similar. Like
it's such
if
like
you've ever,
you know?
it's a downer.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No. So if anyone has had like high amounts of pain or had to have surgery and been in the hospital and been on a morphine drip.
Yes. I mean, it's the same
morphine
thing.
Is very similar to heroin.
It's just the legal form of it.
Right. And I thankfully am allergic to it.
Yeah, seriously.
Because when I was younger, I a lot of people don't know, but I've had multiple surgeries, especially to my abdomen and torso area. So I've had like Dilaudid and morphine and just stuff that really knocks you out. And I found out I was allergic to all of it while I was dealing with going into surgery.
That's so scary.
And I, wake up, you got like a huge scar now. Well, not scar. You got staples. You're dealing with a lot, and then you have hives, and you're like just feeling miserable. And those 2 weeks in that hospital were absolutely horrific. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah.
So,
hives can make anyone insane. Add surgery to that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So all of that combination, and then finding out I'm allergic to, I am so glad I'm not allergic though, because a lot of people in my situation might have ended up with an Oxycontin or heroin addiction. You know what I mean? So thankfully I'm not.
Or that you are allergic.
So thankfully I'm not an addict.
Right.
I've been through so much. You know, should have been by now.
Seriously.
But I'm not. Thank goodness. In fact, I try my hardest not to take anything.
Yes.
I don't like all of that. I take ibuprofen.
Me too.
Ibuprofen is my winner.
Yep.
So this guy unfortunately had a horrible addiction, and it ended up killing him because he was overtaken by a man who was a serial killer. And his remains were the body parts found in the drains.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So what happened to Dennis after his arrest and confession?
Hopefully he got put to death, because that's what I wish for him.
Well,
He's
Dennis,
still alive, isn't he?
Oh, I forgot to look that up.
He's not that old.
I'm pretty sure he's still in. But now I gotta check it.
I'm looking right now.
You look, because I don't know why that skipped my brain, but I didn't look it up.
He died.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yes, you're good.
All right. Dennis was on trial. He started his trial October 24th, 1983. Now, he pleaded diminished responsibility as a defense because he was trying to get a verdict of manslaughter.
Okay.
Why he ever thought that he
manslaughter
is like, you're culpable. You did these crimes. You were responsible. This is not manslaughter. This is not like I was drinking and I had a hit and run and I killed somebody. That's negligent, man. Like that.
Yeah.
No, you literally drowned and strangled these people.
Well, and had the intention of doing so before you even got them to your fucking flat, dude.
Exactly. You planned this out.
This is murder one.
This is first degree. Okay. First. Out of all of his crimes, he was convicted of 6 murders and 2 attempted murders.
Oh my God.
Because he did have a couple victims that got away. But they never really wanted charges, and the police didn't take them seriously because of homosexuality type relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have reported it, but it didn't go any further because of the societal norm at the time.
Right.
He was sentenced, however, to life imprisonment on November 4th, 1983. So it really only took like a week and a half or so. He was not on trial very long.
Yeah.
A trial, like the crimes of this magnitude, to me, seem like it would take, I don't know, a year.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be drawn out and long. And so considering everything, it's just not a long trial. But the minimum term for Dennis was 25 years by the judge. But because it's the UK, the United Kingdom, they have I think this is they have the secretary that could give him a whole life tariff, which meant he could never be released. So the House secretary.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They could say, no, sir, you will never be coming out of here and you will live your entire life in there until you die. Kind of cool. We don't have that.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
I like it.
Especially for people like this.
Right? And in 2006, he was denied any requests for parole. So he could no longer appeal to try and get out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as I gathered, he was residing in the maximum security prison in Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But what year did he die?
I have his death information right here, and I can read it to you. This is straight from Wikipedia. On my birthday in 2018, May 10th, y'all, Nilsson was taken from the penitentiary to York Hospital after complaining of severe stomach pains.
Okay.
It turned out that he had ruptured an abdominal aortic aneurysm. So that's fun.
Yeah.
They repaired it, but he ended up having a blood clot and died 2 days later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 2018.
Yep.
I think I was just so overwhelmed with all the stuff I totally didn't think about his death.
He served
Sorry, guys.
But he served a long time in prison at least, so he, that's good.
Mm-hmm. He was 72 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
And an interesting fact, there is a band called Macabre.
Oh.
And they made a song about Dennis called You're Dying to Be With Me.
Ew.
Gross.
That's
I know.
Really creepy.
It was put on their album Murder Metal, which came out in 2003.
I feel like their band might be in bad taste, but that's just how it sounds to me.
It's an American extreme metal band from Chicago.
Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
Chi-town?
Chi-town. And they formed in 1985.
What?
Yeah.
That is wild.
Right? They have very interesting songs.
And they have the same 3 original members.
They have a song called Dog Guts on their album Dahmer.
I don't think I like these guys.
I don't know if I want to listen to them.
I'm scared.
They took a really great term as their name.
Yeah.
But they're like really...
They really are macabre. There's something wrong with them, I think.
Well, they have a song called Jeffrey Dahmer and the Chocolate Factory.
That's creepy as shit.
Right? The Hillside Stranglers, Werewolf of Bedburg. Is It Soup Yet?
Ew. Mr.
Albert Fish.
Ugh. Okay.
Oh, they have a song called What's That Smell?
Oh, God.
They also have another one called Do the Dahmer.
Oh, God. Gross. So, it's such poor taste. I cannot.
It is poor taste.
It's the same. It's just as bad as those stupid fucking kitchen towels that say "Eat me like Dahmer." Like that is disgusting. That is like the poorest of poor taste.
Please don't.
Like, it's so cringy. Why? Don't. Yeah. No. Nope. Gross. All right, Dennis Nilsson.
I'm sure there's a lot I left out, but if you want to go and look into it, there's
you want to deep dive that more. There's something wrong with you. No, I'm just kidding.
There's so many things.
Yes.
There's so many things. There's a lot of things to watch, a lot of things to learn about.
Yes. But he's dead. So yay.
Yay. And newspapers.com had some really good articles from back in the day.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet they were
that was a good resource. And they actually were comparing him to Dahmer.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating because it's, kind of the same time period.
Yeah. Well,
ish.
Yeah.
Close
but
enough.
anyways. Yeah. Murderpedia, Criminal Minds, they did some stuff.
Nice.
And then check out that episode on Midnight with Andrea Up Late. They did a live version, so
Yeah.
maybe there's more stuff that we didn't cover.
Did you just hear thunder? Yes. Hold, please.
Oh, do you have thunder? I have a barking dog.
No, I think we have thunder. Finally. We have not had rain.
Probably need some rain.
We need rain real bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Woo.
Well, Dennis Nielsen is a piece of shit. He is dead. Hallelujah.
Woo-woo.
Yeah, those poor victims though, like those poor boys.
Yeah, and it's sad that there's some that are not identified and need help with closure for their families.
Yeah, it makes me so sad when people are not identified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you are missing a loved one who fits the bill this time period, maybe they had been missing for a while longer than when they were killed,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe they decided to leave on purpose. But, look into it further and maybe contact the Metro Police and donate your DNA to get tested against the victims.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. DNA is a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't get to talk about my grandfather much, but he had one cold case from 1969 that was finally solved, and he's going to be on 3 different true crime documentaries.
So cool.
And I know he's tired of the interviews and whatnot, but he's
was
the last person to testify.
Yes.
And he actually put the guy and got a conviction, and DNA was what happened. He got one of those, some family member had a genealogy test done, and 51 years later,
people are
solved. So
people are so fucked up sometimes. What if what if your family member killed someone and blah 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 blah? I'm like, well, then they fucking deserve to be in prison. Clearly.
Yeah, we need to find that out, because
they should be locked up if they did something.
They did something horrendous,
they should pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but DNA is just DNA. Blood is not thicker than water in that sense.
No.
And it shouldn't be.
And never.
Yeah. Anyway, off my pedestal here. Till next time, check out our merch, y'all. Find us on Instagram.
Rate, review, please. Share, all the things. Do all the things, please.
Pretty, please. We love you, and we will talk to you soon. Ta-ta.
For now.
Thanks for listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts. If you love our podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. This helps us more than you know. If you really love us and want to support us, go to our website at www.crimecoffeeandcrafts.com. From there, you can join our Patreon, shop our merch, and find us on social media.